place to promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the Lautimes podcast. And welcome back to the Lautimes pod, the only podcast on planet Earth talking about Los Tigres in English. Welcome back. I'm Dennis. I'm the host. And as of right now, it is only a two-man game as far as like who's here recording tonight. I'll reveal that in a second, but thank you for joining us. If you're joining us already, we are powered by StreamYard, as you can see on the screen. And we have a pretty full episode tonight, recapping, previewing, celebrating, lots of things to talk about, as we always do. So please help me welcome my trusty sidekick for tonight, the man, the myth, the legend, our stats nerd, our guy keeping it professional tonight, actually. At Tigres_English, Lou Pop, holding it down in Austin, Texas, baby.
We're all we got, Dennis. We're all we got, man. Showed up in the polo today, trying to be a little more pro. We'll see if it works out or not.
Yeah, hopefully so. There's 5 of you watching already. Thank you for joining us. We want more of you to come. So if you could do us a favor if you're watching right now, retweet this stream, share it with somebody if you're watching on YouTube, like it. Like the channel on YouTube, do all the things. Helps us out a lot to get this out to more people. Oh, AJ is here, but I guess as a contributor in the chat tonight. Speaking of chat, come join us in chat. AJ saying, "Throw me a gig 'em, Lou." That's crazy.
I don't got to gig him for him, but I do got to hook him.
I do too. I'm right there with you, brother. Even though Arch Manning been giving me heart attacks, I'm right there with you. And if you're not following us already on socials, see the little banner below if you're watching live, and if you're watching or if you're listening on podcast later, you can check out the show notes. Threedger's in the chat. He's early
right off
today.
The bat, man.
Right off the bat. Threedger keeping it loyal. So yeah, for real, if you're watching live, come hang out with Threedger and AJ in the chat. When the chat is lively, it makes the episode better. It just does. So come hang out with us. Before we get going, I just got to shout out once again Retro Screamers, because now that I have this beauty that I'm wearing, I don't know why my camera moves like that, but now that I have this jersey in my size and in long sleeve, I'm so happy. Like, amazing. As we all know, this is a hard jersey to find. And I even told them that. I like DM'd them on Instagram yesterday. I was like, thank you all so much for sending this. And they were like super nice about it. And yeah, so I'm pretty happy with this. 10 out of 10 jersey.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's the best away kit of the century so far. I would say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
With maybe last year's being in the top 3, top 5. I don't know. Maybe one of these days, Lou, we need to like redo or re-rank our jersey tier rank. That would be a fun exercise to see what changes between like when we did it last time and another time.
Yeah, that'd be a good winter break kind of podcast. We can go through them again.
Yeah, I would love that very much. My friend, we have a game to recap on Saturday, or that happened on Saturday. And we're going to preview tomorrow night's game. We're going to talk about Amazonas. But let's talk about the game on Saturday against León. Hopefully Edgar will join us maybe at some point later in this episode. But at the very least, he's prepared another lovely outline for us. So I'm going to go ahead and read the first part talking about this León game. Saturday night, Los Incomparables hosted Club León at the Volcán for, I believe, was match day number 8. What should have been a spectacular matchup was heavily disrupted by quite a bit of controversial refereeing. When have you ever heard that in Liga MX before? Oh, yeah, all the time. The first few minutes of the encounter saw Tigres fall to 10 men after Juan Purata was issued a red card. Despite the blow to the team, the match saw Tigres remain the hungrier team on the field, the better team on the field. Angel Correa scored, but the goal was overturned by VAR due to a foul committed by Ociel seconds before the ball went into the net. The score stayed at 0-0, which allowed Tigres to secure a point. And with that result, the boys currently are in fifth place in the standings. I barely got to watch this game, much of any of this game. Barely got to watch highlights, so I'm not going to be able to contribute much, at least on that part. But I know Lou will. So Lou, take it away. Give me your takeaways from Saturday's encounter at home.
Well, another unfortunate game for us where things just didn't go our way. It seems like the refereeing has been trending against us for quite a bit now. Threeger on the chat saying we got robbed. Yeah, it's another controversial call that goes against us, and it's too many now to be coincidental. Um, it was a slide tackle from Purata, which is just a pretty standard slide tackle. He went, in my opinion, he touched the ball first, but unfortunately his trailing leg kind of clipped the player and caused an awkward twist of the ankle. But I thought the red was way too harsh. I think a yellow card would have been sufficient in a play like that. And just a red card kind of ended up ruining the game for us because we did have a solid game plan in place. I thought the team was dominating up until that point, and even after that point, I thought we dominated the game. So we ended up spending a good 65, 70 minutes of the match playing with the man disadvantage, and it's really tough to win a game when you play that long at a disadvantage. But even having said all that, we still had 19 shots. Our XG was at 1.49. Correa hit one off the post. Um, he had a sitter that he missed, a header, and then another one that could have done a lot better with. So I think there was opportunities there. Correa was absolutely phenomenal that night. His effort was just outstanding. He took one shot and then he went and followed his shot and nearly had a goal. We got unlucky with the the goal that got called off. It's one of those plays where Ozzy kind of let his hand. He was trying to frame with his left hand, and it ended up hitting James Rodriguez on the face and caused a foul. It's one of those, had his hand been, maybe 6 inches lower, it hits James on the chest, and that's a no call. You know, it's just it happened to be a little high, and the referee went back, looked at the play, and overturned the goal. So to me, it was just an unfortunate game. I thought the team played really well, and for good stretches of the game, we controlled the match and we were the better team. So, little bit disappointing that we had another unfortunate refereeing decision go against us.
Shout out Arnoldo, the father of the show, saying, "Yo, two man NBA on NBC."
It's Kobe and Shaq tonight, baby.
Who's who? Let us know in the chat. Who do you think is Kobe and who do you think is Shaq in this scenario? Because I don't know what I would say either. That's funny. Um, my takeaway from the game, as somebody who, like I said, didn't get to watch it, um, obviously the red card is frustrating, but as I put in the title of this episode, this team is still struggling to score. It's been this way. I feel like for a little bit now, where we're kind of heading towards that trend where we had last season, where we're getting some chances, but goals are hard to come by. Maybe I don't know though. We'll have some thoughts behind that trend because I don't know. I feel like that's not a great thing. That we're struggling to score again, but I don't know though. Is here now, live and in the flesh. How are you, my friend?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. You working out or what?
No, I just got home, man. It was a long day at work, so just making it in, getting
Nice.
situated. So,
Clocking in. I see. Um, your thoughts on this game, besides what Lou has already said?
It's a little frustrating because ultimately, like Lou said, we were the better team. I'm a little frustrated with the fact that these are winnable games. We already are going through a situation where we're adjusting with the new coach under Guido Pizarro leading us. Obviously, the different players at different positions, something that we're slowly having to get used to, and just overall implementation of the way that he wants to play. So it's a little frustrating because that was a very winnable match. Angel Correa seems like, when we were looking at Andre Pierre, right, in 2015, 2017 era, where he was definitely the difference maker, and it was shown through lots of goals. Correa has surprised me on that front, at least, being the star player that he has been for us. A lot of effort, a lot of heart, a player that just doesn't give up, displayed through so many different opportunities of the game and sequences where, he's just a step above everybody in terms of talent and tactical awareness and just, intelligence to move around on the field. It's effortless. So on that front, very frustrated because a player like him obviously deserves results, but it just seems like overall as a team, there's still areas of with tons of improvement, and more importantly, like we've talked about for so long now, is missing pieces to bolster this roster.
Which makes the fact that we didn't use our last foreign slot before the window closed even more frustrating. But I think we've already beat that horse to the ground too much,
Oh yeah.
way too much. Um, Edgar put some really good questions here to kind of follow up or to continue on with this recap of the game. First one, what were y'all's thoughts on another display of Brunetta and Parra starting in the midfield together?
I liked it. I thought defensively we were able to recover the ball. Uh, we were more solid on a transition defense. The center of the pitch was better covered defensively, and then I feel like we didn't lose anything offensively. I thought we were still generating chances. So to me, I said it last week. It would be really good to see Parra and Brunetta have a shot at it again, because I thought that combination worked really well early in the season, and I didn't think Pizarro would go for it, but he surprised me, and he did. And I think it worked out great. I think he's starting to see that combination is the right combination. Nothing against Correran. I feel like a lot of people were criticizing him heavily this week, unfairly, I think. He hasn't been brilliant, but he hasn't been terrible either. It's just that I think Parra gives us a little bit of an edge defensively and being able to recover the ball quickly. So I like that combination a lot. I think that's one that it's a win-win because not only do we look a little bit better, but we're also adding to the youth minutes.
And we are
No,
still in last place in that. Just
I
to
feel
be
like
clear.
I feel like he set me up for an alley oop there. I don't know. I right when I was joining, you asked the question who was Kobe or Shaq, but I feel like that was a very good Kobe alley oop there, Luke, because I was going to talk about Nando Gorriarán there. It just makes you think that even though he was maybe overly criticized this week, it just makes you wonder if that position is in fact expendable with the foreign position there, and maybe that's why they didn't seek it out in the foreign market like originally was rumored, right? We heard rumors about a left winger. We heard rumors about a left back. Towards the end there, we heard about a defensive mid there because it's quite evident that the midfield is definitely of importance, and Brunetta's not going anywhere. He's definitely the player that Guido Pizarro believes in being that box to box and having that liberty to attack. And the defensive part, that pivot, that's able to do the dirty work, chase the ball, stop the play, disrupt it. I feel like Parra has done an excellent job when he's gotten the minutes there, and so it just makes you wonder if, in fact, Nando Gorreran is the long-term solution. He's been around with us for a few years now, and everyone has had high expectations of being, that player that he was at Santos. He's had good seasons and whatnot, but again, a young player in play, needing the youth minutes, stepping up to the plate.
Yeah.
I like this point that Threaker made here in the comments saying, not going to lie, Correa's reminding me of when Diente was self-carrying the team. Not that they're playing the same, but that they're using that full-on effort.
Oh, I like that.
I think there's some similarities there for sure.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, Correa has really surprised me on that end, and especially when it comes to the effort, because he is now the superstar of the team, but he's also the hardest working on the pitch. It was just amazing to watch how much effort he put into that match and how much he wanted the result to go our way. So to
He's a winner,
me,
Lou. He's a
dude,
winner.
he's setting an example for everybody else. I feel like at times he was kind of like, hey, let's go. He mentions Diente carrying us there at moments. I feel like Correa is starting to become that guy where he's gonna carry us. He's gonna give us that extra spark that we need. Now we just need the guys around him to step up and have that same effort that he's putting in.
What do
Yeah.
you think is missing there, Lou, or even you, Dennis? What do you obviously the very obvious answer is we need better players, right? Or maybe not even so much better players. I think we need starters so the guys that are starting right now can move to their role, which are potential like really good subs. We're talking about the Linuses, we're talking about the OCLs, even with the current roster, a guy like Nando maybe transition into that role like Bigon had a couple years back. What else do you think could be going on, under the Guido Pizarro or even the players on the field?
I think the coaching carousel has affected a lot of these younger guys, to the point where now we saw, especially like now that Correa's playing, we're starting to see that there's been a huge amount of complacency on their end, and that's kind of hard to break out of when you become a lazy player, let's just say it, or a player that doesn't put in a full effort during matches. You tend to continue that trend. So that's something that I think Correa is going to help us, because he's exposing these guys in a lot of ways without being vocal, without making them, purposely making them look bad. I think he's exposing them because now we could see, hey, there's another 2 or 3 levels above in effort that we can get, and there's no excuse, right? We have young players. There's no reason why you can't get maximum effort from a guy like Ozzy Herrera or Lainez. A lot of these guys, the back line. So I think everybody is going to have to step up now because the fans took notice this, especially this last game. I feel like everybody was like, "That's the effort we need." So he's pretty much set the bar for everybody else now, and I think it's gonna be a push from the fan base to be like, "Hey, everybody needs that same amount of effort. Everybody needs to put it in."
And the important part about that point that you're making, Lou, is that within the context of the game, is that he was doing all that despite being down a man, despite the whole team being down a man. And to be able to look better than Leon at times, despite being down a man, I think that says a lot about his star power um, on the team and the fact that he's able to, in a lot of ways, make something out of nothing. That point that you made, I don't know though, just now about how some of these guys need to get moved down to the bench at some point. I don't know why my brain went this way, but here's the point I'm gonna make. I think I'm starting to make sense of everything now. I feel like I'm watching the early Luca Mavs again, but just with Tigres, where the roster was abysmal, but you had a really good freaking player that you could build around, and then eventually, up until Luca got traded, uh, they improved the roster year after year after year, and they made the finals. Obviously, that process does not need to be dragged out super long with Angel Correa. That process needs to be very quickly as to building a team around him, because unlike Luka Doncic, Angel Correa is like 30 years old, 31. So time, unfortunately, is not on his side as much, and so which is frustrating about why we haven't done a lot of transfer business. But hopefully, some of that gets changed in the future. But I think that's a huge win already as far as like the early Correa days. It's just how important he is to the team, obviously, but also the standard that he's setting as somebody who is a starter day in and day out. I mean, you already get, in some ways we were already getting that with Gignac, but with Gignac being almost 40 now, it's different, right? Because he's not playing every minute of every game. When you have a guy like Correa who is playing every minute of every game at this point, it's like, okay, that's different. And he is the standard as far as like where we need to go from a individual player perspective. So we'll see what happens.
I love how we brought the NBA after that comment onto
That's
the
right.
analysis.
That's right. Somebody
Um,
cue up the SNL skit where they take the round ball rock theme and they put words over it, which is a funny bit if anybody's ever seen that. What were you gonna say? I don't know though.
I was going to mention, going back a little bit to, just the frustration of the result. There is still some positives to acknowledge. Lou mentioned it at the beginning. There's a ton of good sequences of ball. There's chances being created, but it just seems the overall that last punch is still missing to go over the top and really be one of the true contenders for the title.
Yeah.
To add to your point, Dennis, that you were mentioning earlier about the goal scoring, last 5 games, 5 goals. If you go to the sixth game, we scored 7 in one game. So after the Puebla game, we've been on this scoring slump.
Yeah.
So we're averaging only about one goal a game,
Yeah.
which is a little disappointing. I think we're going on a little bit of a unlucky streak right now. I think there's been a lot of calls that went against us, but I'm not overly concerned. I feel like still this squad is working through some of that unjust results and unjust officiating, and I think we're gonna be okay. One thing I wanted to mention also about the match is after we lost Purata to that red card, I thought it was interesting how the team looked in spite of the red card being down a man. So he pulled Gacelo Lopez and brought in Joaquin. And honestly, you didn't really miss Gacelo Lopez, which leads me to think that perhaps this team would be better off without a true nine and just adding another midfielder. I've been kind of circulating that thought in my head where instead of playing with Nico Ibanez or playing with Gignac or Gacelo, you just add another midfielder.
Someone that is able to pop out, a center
Yeah,
forward per se.
yeah. So I'm just thinking like maybe that's something that Pizarro saw during this game, because this game sort of gave you that unique opportunity to see it, right? Because all you did was pull a center forward and just solidified your back line to have a true back four again. You kept the same midfield, and yet you still continued attacking. We didn't lose our shape. We didn't lose the opportunities. And I thought, man, like imagine if we were playing with 11 without Gacelo and you maybe inserted Cordova in there, for example. To me it's like you might generate more entrances into the final third and more opportunities for Correa, who really is a lot more lethal than any of the nines we have right now. Um, I'm just thinking like because I went through the scenarios and I'm thinking, no, okay, Nico depends a lot on good crosses,
Not
which
happening.
it's not happening. So then why not just play combination all the way into the final third and then have Correa at the right spots? And I think to me that could be something that Pizarro explores.
I think you're onto something there. Maybe I know we just talked about Gorriaran not being a factor in this game, obviously, but maybe that's a way where he comes in and you don't give up Bruneta or Parra, where you have all of them together
Correct.
and then have Correa be that center forward, that kind of non-traditional nine.
Yeah, it,
Just
it
say it.
could be Gorri, it could be Cordova. Any one of those two could do it. You could centralize Lainez and put in Antuna. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying there's more options there now where you're overloading the middle third, and because of it, you're overwhelming their defense, the opposing team's defense. So
Would that look like would it still look like the same formation to you, or would that be a slight shift in formation?
It'd be a slight shift. I mean, you would still play the double pivot,
Yeah.
right? But instead of a true forward, you would play maybe Correa there. So it'd be like a 4-2-3-1, but with Correa really being a false nine.
Yeah. Okay.
I like
Pizarro.
that, Lou.
Yeah.
I like the conceptual aspect of just overloading the midfield and just a lot of circulation, a lot of movement, and playing through like short passes or through balls like in the last part of the pitch.
Yep.
I like it. Maybe Pizarro has like somebody. Maybe one of the 32 people watching right now is like Pizarro's like English aide, and can maybe like get this over to him at some point. That'd be great. Edgar put a couple more questions. One of them was thoughts on Farfan, considering the fact that he started this game, which he has not done before since he arrived from FC Dallas a month ago.
I know you were high on him, Lou, so why don't you start it off?
Yeah, I liked him. I know there was quite a few people criticizing him because I think that red card was he was sort of involved negatively on that play. But to me, he's a lot more athletic than I thought he was. He's faster than I thought he was, and he's not as offensively limited as I thought he'd be. So he does make overlapping runs. He does enter the final third a lot better than, for example, Angulo would. Right? He's not like a Chuy Garza exactly, but to me, defensively, he's better than Garza with without losing too much of the offensive aspect. So to me, for being his first true game where he starts and he plays, a good chunk of it, I thought he was really good. I thought there's room there for a lot of growth, and I can see now why Pizarro would say, hey, if I wasn't able to get Rosales, this guy's a good pickup.
It just makes you wonder again, like what could have been with just picking up some, players that could help you out on that front. But I don't think that he had a bad game, like you said, Lou. I think he cumplió, right?
Yeah,
It's an improvable position, but that's not on him. He was brought in to at a need with an injury to Angulo and just having Garza playing opposite side, so. I think he's doing what he can with the limitations that he has in his skill set.
Maybe at some point we'll see him play left back and Chuy Garza be the right back instead of Aquino. I would not hate that at all. The last question in the outline regarding this game, and this can be really brief. Another game, another no-show, not even on the bench for Marcelo Flores. Is there any way back for him now?
Nah, done.
Cooked.
he's completely done, dude. Yeah, mentally, I think we've lost him as well.
Yeah.
There's no turning back for him. Not with this squad. I mean, I could see him potentially going to like a Mazatlan or a San Luis or something, and making a little something out of it. But I think at this point, I mean, I was kind of high on him, thinking that under Pizarro he would develop and he would become better than he was under Siboldi, for example. But that ship has sailed, dude. I don't like.
No, there's no way, dude.
I don't see anything.
It's just 6 games. Like Pello, take it with a grain of salt, right? I'm not saying that he's correct about everything, but he's mentioned him quite a bit on his lives and whatnot. And it just seems like the boy's he's just cooked. Like there's nothing. It's probably the atmosphere, the environment of just being a young player, making good amount of money, and a family that, I'm not saying that they didn't work hard, right? Because they had the skill set to get where they got to go, but at the same time, it just seems like he's being affected by his environment, and Monterrey is a city that you could easily, find yourself astray in terms of the nightlife and the going out life. So I think he's just very comfortable in a city where he's having a good time, and he's still young. He's very young. Not that he doesn't have the ability to turn around, but at least with us, I'm totally in agreement. I think he's definitely cooked.
Yeah, I think it was Cora Isiorda that mentioned that what he sees is that it's just a kid that doesn't have his priorities straight.
Nah,
It's not that he's some kind of like party animal or anything like that. We're not going there. But just from seeing what he posts online and on social media, it just kind of shows where his mind is at, and his mind is not on the game. And once your mind is not on the game, and like Arnoldo said, in a city where you can live really well and enjoy life, I think that's what he's focused on right now, and not so much his career at Tigres.
I agree 100%. And we'll leave it at that as far as that game goes. There's another game on the horizon on tomorrow, less than 24 hours from now. Los Incomparables travel to Guadalajara to finally play a match that was supposed to be played match week 1 against Chivas, who currently sit in
oh, we
11th.
play tomorrow. I am.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bro, Lou said the same thing
Yeah.
before we recorded, so you're fine. Yeah, Chivas are currently in 11th place and could potentially miss a key element from their roster, but are coming in hot after beating America at America this past weekend in the Clásico Nacional. How should Guido play his cards for this one? Okay, so it's 3 games in 7 days, I think, because I think they play again Saturday. No, Saturday, Sunday. When's our game after this? Do you
Has to
remember?
be Saturday or Sunday.
Before
Yeah,
I
they're
get
playing.
it,
They're playing Wednesday.
Saturday against Pumas.
Saturday against Pumas at 8.
Pumitas. So okay, so that's it's short rest. So what sort of changes do we see? Safe, good. Sorry, I'm watching Rangers Astros. What sort of changes do we expect to see tomorrow for the lineup? The obvious one being Joaquim is going to step in and take over Purata's spot in the center back pairing. So we'll get the Brazilian duo in the back. And there is reporting that came out today that Jesus Angulo is available for selection again. I would not expect him to start, but I think he will at least make the bench tomorrow. How do we see the rest of the lineup rounding out?
Garza, I think, gets put back at left fullback.
Mm-hmm. Agree with that.
I don't know if Gorri gets another nod or not. Maybe so. We'll see.
I feel
That'll
like you got to
be
go Parra there, Luke, because you got to counter Chivas' dynamic game.
yeah. I mean that's what I would do. That's what I would do. I just don't know where Pizarro's mind is at on that one.
And you
And
need
then
the
I think
minutes.
I think other than that, I don't think he changes much. I mean, I think you're gonna see the same midfield and striker combo that we saw against Leon.
So Gacelo starts again.
Yeah, I think Gacelo starts again.
Okay. I guess with the I always forget what's the maximum amount of foreign players we can have on the field?
4?
7, 8? No, it's more than 4. It's like 7 or 8.
Yeah, it's
7.
got to be.
7.
Yeah. So you'll have Nahuel, Brazilians, Bru, Correa.
Oh
So
yeah, with Purata out, I think you do have to play. You do have to play Parra then, don't you?
well, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And again, you need the minutes. I mean, we're not in a place to really skip out any more games. We haven't even hit 300 yet. Still, yeah, I would suspect that would be the same lineup as well. Guignac is not playing. He's not even on
He
the
didn't even
plane.
travel.
Didn't even
Yeah.
travel. He's dealing with a knock. I did not see the specifics of that tweet that the team put out earlier this afternoon.
There were no specifics.
Okay. So Bayo said something different about it not being an injury, but then the team was like, no, it's an injury. So
Arnoldo, what do you make of that, bro?
Yeah,
Of that tweet, by the
sabe,
way.
way.
Well, I'll tell you two things. Somebody fed Peyo some wrong information. That's for sure. Or someone's trying to stir up things
Stir the pot,
because,
baby.
yeah, because it's expected. Like, what are we gonna? What's the line here? The 40-year-old star is upset because he's not getting playing time, or he's just 40 years old and he has nagging injuries.
So you going with the official club statement?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. What do you think it could be? Like, cause I don't see a world where at this point he's not going to fight with Guido Pizarro. He could be upset, but that's okay. Like he's been upset in the past before. He's 40 years old. Like he'd be naive and stupid, which I don't think about him at all. To get into a position at this stage of his career where there's so much possibilities for him still within the club. So I just don't buy that he is upset that he's not getting any playing time. Like he's been with Guido Pizarro since 2017. Well, 2 years and then 2017 again.
No, I was thinking more on the terms of early retirement because he's moving into a front office role. That's
You
where I
think
was
that
going with it.
you think they would break the news to Peyo like that?
No, well, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm saying that his tweet led a lot of people to think that that's what's happening.
No way. Yeah, I mean, I see it. I see where you're coming with it. I just don't buy it.
I mean, he knows it's the end. He knows that this is it.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I don't know though. Like, I don't see a world in which he's upset. Like, he knows this is his last season. It's fine. He's going to be dealing with injuries. His body's not what he used to be anymore. Even though he works really hard on taking care of his body, and kudos to him, it's let him down over the last year, and not really his fault. So, um, yeah, I'm not too concerned about that. I'm sure with a lot of games going on. I mean, we talked about the calendar last week. Like, there's a lot of games this month. There's a lot of games between now and the Cruz Azul game that kind of ends this phase of the schedule before the next FIFA break. So I I would be very wary of thinking that it's anything but just a normal injury and that they're trying to protect him, um, because there's a lot of games happening in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
It would
I
not,
think it's more that route.
yeah, it would not shock me if he's on the bench on Saturday against Pumas. Plus, he loves to play against Pumas. That dude loves
Yeah.
to score against Pumas.
We,
So
we all love playing against Puma. That's one of my favorite matches of the season.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Let me look back at this outline.
Truly, I have probably my two favorite opponents when it comes to the team. Not saying that it's going to happen and we're going to get the result, but in terms of play and like just know that there's going to be chances created by our team just because one, how Chivas plays and how Pumas plays are not really a team that's just going to sit back entirely. It just opens up, a good possibility for some goals. So I always look forward to these two opponents every season.
Yeah, and Chivas, I think they're better than what they show on the standings.
Mm-hmm.
They're a dynamic team. I think they're starting to be a well coached team. I feel like Milito outcoached Jardini on this last weekend.
What
So
a
I think,
statement! What a
yeah,
statement you just made, by the way. Wow.
yeah. I mean, it says a lot, but watch out. I think it's one of those games where we're gonna have to be careful because they like Arnoldo said, they're not gonna just sit back. They will come at us at times, and I think at times they'll if they can get an early lead, for example, they're gonna play counter and bait us into that position. So I think we're gonna have to be really careful, especially keeping a clean sheet and making sure that we're the ones that score first.
So with that in mind, predictions,
I'm gonna go two
expectations.
one. I'm gonna go two
Okay.
one Tigres.
For tomorrow, Lou?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I think it's
Why
gonna be a tough
oof?
game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough game. I'm thinking either a 2-1 or 3-1 loss tomorrow.
Ooh.
A la madre. Wow. I
Just
mean,
because
I,
they're
Yeah,
coming in, just because they're
eh,
coming in hot, or do
bro,
you feel
vibes are
like
high
there's
with
a
them right now.
matchup issue?
I think it's the matchup, and I think they're not in bad form. I think that overall Chivas, for the longest, the expectations never really contenders or anything, but they still toughen out games and whatnot. So I really just think that um, we're not in the best form. I think the only thing that helps us truly is the accident of Joaquim and Romulo starting in the back and countering that with the speed and the mobility of those players. So I just think that it's going to be a back and forth game, and I believe that just we're not going to get the positive result.
Okay. Oh, double a nation in the house. 2-0 Tigres. My man. I like that. Friedger saying 2-1 tomorrow, 3-1 Saturday. Okay,
Oof.
giving us a 2-for-1. Um, yeah, I mean, didn't even want to really talk about Saturday, but that's a good point. Um, we're away both of these games, but we've had success recently playing their away, like against Pumas. Last year there was that game where Gori had that golazo from like almost 40 yards out. Um, maybe he can play and replicate that again. That'd be great. Um, I'm gonna say for tomorrow, 2-2 draw, and then for Saturday, we win 2-1. We're about to get the Pumas fans to appear since it's their what?
Yeah, I like the 2-1 loss tomorrow, and then I like the victory 2-1 on Saturday.
Drieger, what are you saying? Are you okay? Are you having a moment?
He stepped on the keyboard. Cat stepped on the keyboard.
Yeah, no kidding. Um, speaking of tomorrow, I'm not totally sure where they're broadcasting the game. Um,
Telemundo, it's Chivas, no?
it's saying it's Universo,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to figure out it, but it's not showing up on my actual Telemundo like listing for tomorrow, like on YouTube TV. So it might be on Peacock too, perhaps. I'm not sure. I cannot confirm that. So I don't know.
If
Just
it's
look
Peacock,
around.
it's what? It's paid.
Yeah, I mean you gotta like subscribe to it, which I already do. And if you watch Premier League, like sickos like me, then you probably already subscribed to it. Yeah, it's not showing up on my Telemundo. So hopefully it's on phone glitching. Thank you. That their fans will show up since they're playing us. Yeah, that is true. That stadium's always usually empty until us or America comes into town, which is it is what it is. Um, and then Saturday's game will be on TUDN, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, it should be.
So that's that for the men's team for tonight. We do have to talk about the Queens because, man, the vibes are vibing right now with Tigres Femenil after another just wonderful win on Friday against Pumas Femenil 5-1. Jennifer Cordinali, as loyal members of the Jennifer fan club that the three of us are, especially our president Lou, um, it was amazing to finally see her start, and she, to no one's surprise, played really well because she's a freaking good player. Like she should be starting every single game and playing the role that Mayor was playing. Sunshine and smiles returned to the team as the Goal Fest allowed the team to secure their spot at the top of the league table for another week. The big question that Edgar wrote out here that Lou is going to answer for us here is, has your opinion changed regarding this team and how far they will go this season based on that result on Friday?
We did the heat check last week. and I think well it was 3-1, right?
Yeah.
Three soft no's and one soft yes.
Yep.
I'm trending to the soft yes now because
Uh
well, this team's looking better, bro, and I think they put a stretch together now that we haven't seen in a really long time, where it's four consecutive games playing dominant football. Um, I hadn't seen that in a long time. 4 games, 20 plus goals, and the team shape was right uh, against good teams. I mean, Querétaro is a really well coached team. Pumas is a good team. So you're doing it against good teams, not cupcakes or anything like that. So to me, I think we're entering a good stretch of the game where we're starting to of the season where we're starting to look better just at the right time. To me, it's critical that we play the best 11, and I think Pedro Losa finally went for it. Um, Farmer at the five, like I've been wanting to, playing that
yeah.
holding mid spot
Gosh.
with
Yeah.
Hermoso at the double pivot, where now Hermoso can concentrate on distributing, passing, entering the final third to be able to get some shots off. Uh, and Farmer covers a ton of ground defensively, recovers the ball really swiftly. I think that's the combination. And then you mentioned it, Corginali playing behind the nine. It needs to happen. Like that's the combination that we need. And Corginelli just has a magnet for the ball, knows the right spots to be at, and then takes advantage of the few opportunities she has. And and look how many goals she scored this season with very limited minutes. Um, to me, I've always felt that it's not Corginelli or Ordonez, it's both of them. I think having both on the pitch is critical because it's a nightmare for center backs to defend. Because Ordonez is such a big body that she ties up two center backs almost automatically because she's so good in the air and her movement's good, and that opens up the space for Corginali to be in behind her to poach. And I think it's working out perfectly, and I hope that Pedro Losa learned from this game and continues to allow the best 11 to play.
You want to add anything to that? I don't know though.
I missed the opening point, but I caught up like what he's talking about. So I'm sorry, I had to disconnect for a second.
Oh, you're good. We were just saying the question that Edgar wrote in the outline was, has your opinion changed regarding this team and how far they will go this season based on how they've been playing the last few games?
I think the bar is still out. I'm not completely convinced. I think that even though they've played better, there's still silly mistakes here and there. I think that there's still more to bring out of the combinations like we talked about of Demby now being the winger as well as Maria Sanchez, Corginali being included and what she's giving you goal wise and just presence wise. She's just a very talented player. Hermoso still in very good form. I think Ordonez has been one of the best additions on besides the star players that per se that we brought in or more high caliber players in terms of name. I think that she's fit excellent with the team and what we're looking for out of our offense. So I think they're definitely one or two up there, but I think I'm not as convinced. I think in previous years, probably before the last 2 years or so, I was very convinced that they were going to be in the final, or at least even winning it. But I think now I still see the competition still very good around us, meaning America, Pachuca, still very good teams that could potentially sneak some victories against us.
Yep. Here's a hot take from Mr. Outline. It's not an act of Pedro, but an act of the squad looking to fill the void left by Ovalle.
There is a
There's
good
something to that.
argument. Yeah, there's a good
Yeah.
argument to that. I think we mentioned it last week. I think that Ovalle demanded so much of the ball that we were so dependent on her at times. And I think now you're able to get more players involved, keeping the backlines honest, the opposing backline honest, because now I think we got so dependent that we became very predictable. They knew, okay, the ball's going to the left wing, it's going to Ovalle. And it's a lot easier to defend when you know where it's going. I think now we're spread out on all the zones, and I think that helps out a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Threaker saying also we have Eve to see what she can bring in gameplay with the team as well.
Yeah, I think she's gonna be crucial, man. I wholeheartedly believe that she is gonna end up playing either at right back or at left full back, and I think she's gonna be critical. When we've struggled against America, it has been at times because we haven't had good fullback play, and I think fixing that is gonna put us over the top.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing her get a start, hopefully sooner than later. Their next game, Tigres Femenine, their next game is
Juarez.
on Friday, late game against Juarez, before coming back home next Friday and playing Leon. Season season's almost done. I mean, this is match day 12 uh this week on Friday for them. So it's going by pretty quickly, but
We've got
lot
one big test this tournament
yep,
still this season
yep.
against America Femenil. So
October 10th.
I think by then we'll know where Arnoldo sits with this squad, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we continue this trend of scoring and dominating, clean sheets, and then you get a win against America Femenil in convincing fashion, then I think everybody's gonna be on board by then.
Yeah,
If we can do it.
absolutely. Okay. This is a short outline. I think we have reached a conclusion. Look at that. It's not even an hour.
Love that for us.
Love that for us as well. It's
You know,
back to the old days when you got
story time, Dennis. When Arnoldo and I first started doing the podcast, our goal was 30 minutes per pod.
well,
Yeah.
and you guys were also Zoom limited. You had to get it done in 40 minutes before the recording stopped.
Nah, bro. We were on that paid plan, bro. Don't be trying to make us look poor out here.
No, hombre. I was a part of it whenever we were still on Zoom. That thing was not paid. No, it was not.
we got
Bro,
paid memberships now.
nos
That's
estás
true.
exhibiendo, bro.
I know. It be your own people.
if people's crazy. That's amazing. Okay, are we missing anything else? Besides the fact that we didn't make any transfers, which is no surprise. Oh, actually, hold on. This kid that is going to be joining the U18s, the kid from
And
Botafogo.
Hiki Simeone or whatever his name
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Do we have we looked anything up? I just know he's a kid and he's like well regarded, but I mean, again, it's not a first team player, so it's not going to solve any of our issues currently, but
I had a thought on him earlier, but I forgot to make a note of it, and due to my old age, I've now forgotten what my thought was.
What the heck, Lou? Don't expose yourself like that.
Bro, old person moment, bro. I completely lost what I was gonna say about it.
bro, come on. Don't be doing that.
I need to start writing stuff down, bro. This is bad.
Yeah. Please do not be like my abuelo who's out here forgetting stuff like crazy. Bro, you guys want to hear something crazy? Speaking of my abuelo, who is like the biggest sports fan, like he's in on everything. He's in on Tigres super hard. He's in on the Cowboys. He's a big Cowboys fan, which is hilarious. Uh, Big Yankees fan, Dodgers, like he loves so many different teams, so many different sports. This dude, the other day, we were FaceTiming and we were talking about the Cowboys. So I don't know that you're gonna get a kick out of this. We were talking about the Cowboys, and this guy straight up asked me, mind you, he's 90 years old, straight up asked me, "Hey, what's Tom Landry doing these days?" thinking that this guy was still alive. And not even that. He thought that he was alive and thought that Troy Aikman and Tony Romo were already dead. Lo anda matando. O sea, like, why?
That's crazy, dude. Should have
I
told him
just,
Roger Staubach is the quarterback.
he probably would have believed me. Oh, man. So, anyway, I had to share that because just what a guy. What a guy. Um, yeah, so that's it for us tonight. Again, topping out at less than an hour, which is great. Um, go ahead.
What do you guys think about my what I put out the other day that they're saving everything for when Gignac takes over? That they
Oh,
haven't made.
yeah. Yeah.
So like I think we were all when you went through last week asking yes or no on additional signings, I think we were all like no. But do we think that maybe they are saving something for when Gignac comes around, then they get some big signings and make him look really good right off the bat? Or is it that poverty has hit us hard?
I think it's poverty. I think it's
Well,
poverty, dude, because uh, you had so much time to get players, to move players, to negotiate players, to loan out players, and that barely happened. You had an exit from a retired player who is not playing in Brazil like we thought he was going to, or maybe had an offer. You had a player who recently talked about in an interview who obviously didn't pan out in general in his career. Like, but he helped in obtaining that championship for us in 2023. Diego Reyes playing for Querétaro. Um, and who was the other exit?
uh, Rayful.
Raimundo Fulgencio. Miracles, but I think there's obviously some other type of activity going on there. So I think overall, I just think that we're in a bad spot with leadership. I think that because of the massive amounts of changes in terms of coaches and consequences of those actions of being stuck with players who don't fit the current coach at the time that took over. It just seems that it's all on leadership, and I think that if leadership is not able to maneuver its way to at least making some type of signs, even if you strike out on them or fail, there must be no money, and they're just doing what they can, and it must be an indication. Ride it out until we're able to. I just don't see, man. I really don't see how they would just turn the keys over to Gignac. But then again, like they created a story about one of the most historical players in our history. So at this point, it could be,
Yeah.
a whole, new expectation and new train ride to ride on for the team. So, but I think that's kind of like as a fan now, going into every match, I just enjoy watching them. I think that I ride the passion of the fan that I became as a kid and ultimately have been throughout my life. And I just enjoy the moment of just making the time to watch Tigres. And obviously, I would like for them to win, but I know that we're experiencing rocky times and can't really expect too much out of something that is clear in your face is not really moving too forward.
Yeah. If you're right, which I think you are, I think the winter window is going to be good for us on that end come January because by that time Cordoba will be off the payroll. Bigon will likely be off the payroll. Um, you could probably throw Nico Ibanez in there as well. So you start to kind of get rid of some of these players that haven't given you anything. Flores, for example, is another one. Marcelo Flores. So potentially five, maybe six players that you could offload that would ease some of that pain.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that there's a lot of people to blame for this, but I think that nonetheless, it was still. fixable along the way. There was still work to be done, and we just missed out. It was a complacency thing. You have you brought in players that could potentially be high profile players with their youth and their national team caps, and you rode the wave. But I think that they just let it go on for too long, and now it's irreversible. I think you have to ride the wave on the way out with all these aging players. You got Aquino leaving, like all the players that you mentioned. It just could open the door for better players, but yeah, no expectations once again. Just riding the cool wave.
Yeah. Uh, some of the bets they made, I feel like, okay, I could see, man, it's a good gamble, right? Flores, for example, I feel like decent gamble, but I think it was all done way too quickly without any, without waiting to see what some of the consequences were of those gambles. As you went with the whole Mexican, adding Mexican players to it, but you did it too swiftly. So you went out and got Cordova, you went out and got Flores, Lainez, Antuna, but didn't wait to see what the consequences were going to be. I think it's just way too much, and then they all just kind of backfired on you. They all failed on you. So to me, there's a lot of learning opportunities there if they do that, the self check, to realize like, hey, it was a good bet, but it needed to be rolled out a lot slower, and then seeing how it pays off.
Well, if we're in poverty, there's only one thing we can do to fix that.
Buy more jerseys.
Exactly. And continue running up la cuenta. We need to do that at the end of the season. We need to, like, before our last episode of 2025 needs to be like us reviewing, like going through our receipts and our credit card statements and figuring out how much money we spent on this team on merchandise. So we'll figure that out accordingly. I agree with everything though that y'all have been saying. I do sense that something will shift as far as like action. I would like to think that that's like the positive side of me, the hopeful side of me, who wants to think that they are going to wait until some of this passes, hopefully, like next summer, which will be hard to do. The hard part about doing a lot of this in the summer, which is why I think you're onto something with the winter window, Lou, is that next summer is not just any summer, it's the World Cup. And so trying to negotiate with players who are playing in the World Cup is going to be really hard. Because what if you're targeting them before the World Cup and they get hurt like 2 games in, right? Or what if you have somebody on your radar or somebody that you didn't have on your radar before and then has a great World Cup? Do you take that gamble, right? Like, I think the winter window may be more realistic as far as like real action, just to kind of be safe, because I do think with the World Cup it is risky to try and do too much and try to base decisions off of like 4 games in a summer tournament, because sometimes those work. We've seen that all across the world. Sometimes those don't work. So I would like to think that what Lou said is going to come true on that front. So anything else? Any other tweets we want to unravel real quick? Or are we good?
Good.
You're good? Sweet. Okay. Thank you to everybody watching us right now. We appreciate you. All you've been hanging on the chat. A little lively tonight. Hopefully we get more of y'all next time. Next week, we'll be back to recap these 2 men's teams games. We'll recap the femenil game. We'll look ahead to what's coming up next on the calendar. As always, the next episode will probably come out, or we'll probably do our next recording on Monday of next week. Just FYI, everybody, be on the lookout for that. And I know I keep beating the dead horse. Well, it's not a dead horse yet, but it's heading towards being dead. These special episodes, they're gonna come at some point, but we're still working on it. So be on the lookout. Follow us on all the socials. Check out the banner if you're watching live. Check out the handles on the screen as well. If you're listening on podcast, you can check out the show notes. Anything that you guys can do to share, to get this out to more people, it helps us greatly. It gets us out in front of more eyes, and it goes a long way. So we appreciate you in advance. Like I said, we'll be back next week to talk more about this team that we love so dearly. Until next time, arriba la U, be good. We'll talk to you guys next week. And one last thing, Viva Mexico, cabrones. See y'all later.
Peace.